Pirates of the Caribbean, the movie franchise, is 14 years old. Yeah, the first one came out in 2003. Oh my god! Ahoy, me mateys! Welcome to the MaffmanJones movie channel. I'm your host, John Maffio, and today's featured movie is the latest installment into the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Average greedy studio execs tell too many tales. Dead men tell no tales. It's the continuing story of Captain Jack Sparrow, who happens to be with a couple new swashbuckling characters, and a couple returning ones too, including Barbossa, who you may recognize from the original trilogy. And things are happening. Back in the past, Captain Jack screwed over a Spanish legendary pirate who was played by Javier Bardem, Mr. Salazar, and he's been brought back to life and his whole crew, and they're a bunch of undead pirates. And they're going after Captain Jack, and they're all looking for this trident that could break curses, all curses. So, things happen. Ahoy. I do like saying that word, ahoy. If you work in retail, next time you work and you have a customer, instead of doing your normal spiel, just go, ahoy me matey, how can I help you today? See what they do. Here's my quick rundown of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie franchise. I remember seeing the first one in the theaters in 2003 with my grandmother and my brother. Really good experience. For some reason, I skipped over Dead Man's Chest. I saw it eventually on TV. In 2007, I saw it at World's End, but we left the theater 20 minutes into the movie for some reason. I really don't remember. I was young back then. We were stupid. I caught the rest of it on TV or on DVD. I forget which. And I just totally never saw the fourth one on Stranger Tides. Just never had interest in it. And now, 6 years later, we return to this franchise. And to be perfectly honest, Dead Man Tell No Tales is a fine movie. It's a decent entry into the Pirates franchise, and it's also a fairly decent send-off for our characters, new and old. One of our main protagonists, Captain Jack Sparrow, played by the Johnny Depp, is back, and he's kind of a caricature now. He's definitely not who he used to be, especially in the original movie. If you go back and watch the first movie, he feels like a real person and character. Now he's just a kooky Looney Tune. There's no balance for his character. He's just kind of off the rails, going nuts, loop-de-loop-a-loo. And if you're into that, cool, but for me, it just kind of took me out of the movie. Jeffrey Rush comes back as Barbossa, and he's probably the best part of the movie as far as returning characters are concerned. His arc, kinda wasn't a fan of it, kinda felt forced, but I did like seeing him return to the franchise. The new faces, I'm not going to spoil how they are integral to the plot, because they are, in a way, even though it is forced, in my opinion. But they're fine. They're good. They certainly felt like a retrend of Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom from the original movies, but they were handled well enough where it wasn't bothering me. I enjoyed watching their story unfold. Our antagonist, and Javier Bardem as Salazar, was actually really intimidating, really creepy. I liked the way they did his character visually. So he's like an undead person, and he died underwater, so he has like his body's like floating in ways, as the rest of his crew too. There are a lot of things going on where visually you could see some real aesthetics, real makeup, and there's also parts of it where you could tell, oh, like half this guy's face is missing, so obviously there's CGI going on there. But it all was executed fairly well. Special effects in this movie, as with the rest of the films, are top-notch. The Turner family plays a big role in this movie, and I like they brought it back home to characters that we are familiar with, while also doing something new. However, I do think the execution was a bit flat, and the only time I really felt satisfied by what they were doing was in the last act and the actual ending of the movie, which again, is a really good send-off in my opinion for these characters. But the rest of the movie just kind of feels eh. For a Pirates movie, you would expect some cool action sequences, some involving swords or pirate ships, and you do get a lot of that. Nothing really stands out, although there is one scene in the beginning that does involve Captain Jack, and it did remind me a lot of a mix between like a Looney Tunes cartoon and that particular action sequence from Fast 5 that involves a vault. A lot of the Hans Zimmer music returns for this installment, and it really does, in my opinion, elevate what's going on in certain scenes. The visuals, just establishing shots, seeing characters interact, the action sequences, the music really does elevate it. If you're not enjoying it visually, the music does get your blood pumping. And it always does. I always love the Pirates theme. It's the best. And there's not much else to say about Dead Man Tell No Tales. It's a decent movie For a 5th installment in the franchise, it's not going to blow anybody away. If you already have enjoyed what you've seen from the previous 4, you'll enjoy what you've seen here. If you weren't a fan before, you won't be a fan now. But if you're just popping it in on TV, or if you're just going to see a movie on the whim, you're probably going to find yourself enjoying it. But there are a lot of flaws to be had within this film that kind of take it down, including cliched characters, cliched plot direction, characters having to be involved with each other in some specific way, action that just doesn't feel inspired. Nothing really feels inspired in this movie, aside from a couple of visual things going on with, like, the undead characters, Javier Bardem. Everything else just feels what you would expect from a movie like this. But because it has some fun sequences and interaction between characters, and visually just a lot going on, it's just cool to watch, to be honest. I'm going to give Pirates of the Caribbean 5 a 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's a Sam Worthington Applebee's meal. Again, if you're a fan of this franchise, I'd check it out. Otherwise, no bother. I also find it weird that I don't own the first 2 movies, especially the first one on Blu-ray, but I own At World's End on Blu-ray. What made me buy this one but not the other 2? I make weird life decisions with movies sometimes. Don't question it. I question it, but don't question it. Don't question it. Now I want to know from you guys, if you've seen the 5th film, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. Did you actually think it was a reinvigoration for this franchise, or should they just let this thing go? Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like, that's important. Subscribe if you want, so you'll never miss a video from me ever again. And also, check out my social medias down below. I also want to shout out Andrew Nahome. I just want to shout Andrew out because he made a really nice, awesome comment, and it warmed my heart. And to hear you guys say that you've been supporting me for years, like, it's really cool. It's awesome. Thank you, man. I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and I'll see you guys, ahoy, me mateys, next time.